So next task is to install the sleeve in here. This is for the trailing arm bush. I've done one side actually, so I've hit all the problems, and I didn't think I'd subject you to all the issues I had and try and show you how I did it successfully, or how I eventually achieved it anyway. The first thing I found was it's a good idea to heat the bush up a bit. Trying to heat it up but not burn the paint, which is a bit of a challenge, particularly as the blowtorch pressure keeps varying, which is not good. The grease is a bit of a strange colour because it's some really old rubber grease that I had. I think it's about 50 years old. I had it when I built, I maintained a junior autocross car when I was a kid, and I think I bought it when I was doing that. Still, it should be good enough for this purpose. Okay, I think that'll do. Okay, here we go again then. Let's try and straighten it up. Looks straight. Problem is that it just, as you pull, obviously you're not got perfectly even friction on the sleeve, and whichever side is binding slightly, that side holds out and it twists. So it's already started to twist under, I think. Yeah, it has a bit. Okay, so of course, once you get it past a certain point, it's all right, but you have to get quite a lot of the sleeve into the housing before that happens. Yeah, it's well and truly going in sideways. I bet you're watching this and really cringing. I'm not sure I'd want to do this with tools that that I loved and cherished, because this is not a nice thing to do. Anyway, we're getting there. I think it's pulling straight now, bizarrely. I can feel that this is still slightly warm. Yeah, it's going in there. So you can see that's how you get it started and get the thing to go in. I'll tell you something else as well. I've got to have some strength, because putting these in, particularly, putting these in is really tough, quite hard work, and you need to put quite a lot of force on the spanner. Okay, so you can see that I've compressed it through about equal distance. It's ready now to have the bushes installed, the rubber part of the bush, I mean. So the rubber inserts that we need to put in here are the ones that are numbered 031590. So they're pretty easy to put in. Just stick some silicone grease around them and they just push in, basically. Stick some around the actual sleeve itself, and there you go, just pushes in. Really simple. Push that one in as well. Okay, away we go. Now the next thing to do is to put some silicone grease in the centre of the rubber inserts. They're not rubber, are they? They're polymer inserts. Just stick some silicone grease in those. Now, this is where the fun starts. First thing is I've got to take that out of there. So to pull this insert into there, I'm going to stick some more rubber grease around the insert. And we're going to pull it through in this direction with this bar. But instead of using all of the standard bits that I've got, we are going to use this square washer, this nut. So what we do is we put the sleeve on the bar, put the bar through the bush, square washer on the back with the nut, and do that up. The reason for doing this is because once the bush is in, once the sleeve is in, you cannot twist the bar to one side to extract it, and so you end up being a bit stuck. So this way I can simply loosen off this nut and just pull the bar out the other way. I just need the you wouldn't normally just put the nut straight onto the sleeve, but the sleeves push in really easily. I mean, there's not a lot of force needed, so this is perfectly okay to do it this way. You have to keep trying. I've had to try all sorts of combinations of washers and nuts and extraction tool components, and yeah, it's a lot of messing around, quite honestly. Now the thread's gone a bit tight on there. Okay, we should be good. Right in there about straight. Even though this might go in a bit wobbly, it'll pretty quickly straighten out. The problem is with this bar is I've given it so much stick that the thread on it is not that good. But anyway, we should be able to do it up quite quickly now. I'm sure lots of people would be tempted to use an impact driver at this point, but I've never had the bravery to do that. So I'll just stick with my ratchet spanner. That should lock up against this, inner sleeve should lock against this washer, so you should be able to feel when it's, there you go. So it's all the way through now. So just slacken that off. And that's it. Installed. The next thing to do is the ball joint for the camber arm, which goes in here, and we'll tackle that next. So I found another problem with these aftermarket ball joints, FAG ball joints. So this is the ball joint, good quality, no problem with that, but it turns out that when I was pulling it in, I saw the depth of the sleeve, the outer sleeve here, seemed to be too deep in this sort of cast, too deep from what I remember, and I pulled them into a depth set by this tool that's supposed to be purpose made for BMW bushes and ball joints. So the actual shoulder here in the tool is 6mm, so it's 6mm from the top to the actual shoulder there. And at first I thought, oh well, maybe it shouldn't be 6mm and that's badly manufactured or something. But then I actually measured here's one of the old ball joints that came out of there, and I found that the sleeve on this one, the sleeve on this one is 25mm and the sleeve on this one is 24. So then I thought, okay, well, what about the distance between the faces on the inner sort of sleeve? Because obviously that sets the width at which you're going to bolt down onto. And it turns out that this one is 55mm and this one is 54mm. I can obviously accommodate 1mm in tightening up. I'm sure that would be okay. So what I've done is I've used another tool, this one just here, put that over there, and I've pulled this in 0.5mm extra. So now it's 5.5mm from the top edge to the top edge of the cast, which means that it's sitting a bit better, I think, in this side, and also it centralizes this. Okay, it's 0.5mm out each side, but at least it's centered correctly as it should be. The BMW, well, it's not BMW, it's another make, but the extractor set meant for the BMW parts has one cut which sets, as I said earlier, sets the depth correctly, so that has to go this side. Then the other side, the only one that really goes over the ball joint successfully is this big cup here, which doesn't have a thread on the other end. So we have to employ a nut on this side to lock it. So that's a bit of an oversight on somebody's part. Now, hopefully this is going to be the same, and every time I say something like this, Murphy's Law kicks in. But on the other side, when I pulled this ball joint in, actually it pulled in fairly straight, and also it was pretty easy to do. So let's hope we have the same luck. Now, did I heat up the casing? Yes, I did. I remember doing it. Okay, I think that does. Now I've just realised I haven't put any Copaslip or put anything on this bearing. I don't know that this really doesn't seem as though it's the sort of stuff that lubricates much. I've got a feeling it's purely just to stop the stuff seizing, but we'll see how we go. If this doesn't work, I'll have to wipe it off and stick some grease on it. Right, one benefit of having the nut on this end is I've got a spanner that fits it, which is good, ratchet spanner. So let's try and pull this in. Go slowly to start with. You can see it's already pulling in sideways. So what I did last time was I used my copper faced hammer, but I also used a large drift. It's gradually pulling it around. Yeah, that's straightened it. It seems ridiculous that I have to do this, it really does, but I can't seem to do it any other way. It's still quite warm, I can feel the heat through my gloves. So, again, it's one of those things, once you get it started and it starts to go in, it should pull through pretty straight. Looking good. I'm going to pull it down so that this thing this side goes flush against the casting. Okay, I think we're there. So do it all. Yeah, I think that's even. Yeah, it is. I was a bit worried at first that it didn't look that even, but I think it is. Of course, in theory, with it being a spherical joint, even if this sleeve was slightly out, you should be able to cope with that. I'd rather get it in square if I can. Now I've got to push it in a bit further anyway, but before we do that, let's just check just how square this is. It looks okay, I think. Let's have a look. Okay, 6.07. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It might be 0.01 of a mil difference, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make any adjustment like that. So, now, you know what? If this is a 1 mil pitch screw, I wonder if it is. How would I be able to measure that then? Phew, it'd be quite difficult to measure. But what I was thinking was, if it's a 1 mil pitch screw, then I need half a turn, don't I? No, I think it might be slightly bigger than 1 mil. Yeah, looks like it might be quite a coarse thread. Yeah, I think it's bigger than 1 mil. Okay, so not half a turn. Yeah, so a third would be about there. Actually, yeah, it's only tightened at that point, so. Okay. A lot of messing around, This thing keeps slipping. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to take it all the way off just in case. I'm going to get my calipers and zero them again. It's quite cold out here, and you find the calipers setting varies a bit. Come on, get out of the way. .57. I think that's good enough. Done. They're the only two things to be actually inserted into the hub carrier, so I've done both sides now, and the next thing will be to put all the remaining bushes in the control arms.